All right, Shalom. First, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rechak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. I'm gonna go into this topic, okay, concerning agreeing with thine adversary quickly. All right, and just basically, using wisdom, all right, in society today. Okay, and that's why I titled it what it is. Let me look at it. Don't get your ass beat. All right. Trying to be a tough guy. All right. Because keeping in mind, yeah, we know who we are. Just as a matter of fact, the scriptures say in Psalms 82, all right, that we are gods. Okay. The Lord said that we are gods. All right. However, that we shall die like the princes of men. Okay. But right now, okay, we are in captivity. We are the tail. All right. And our oppressor right now being the so-called white man, biblically known as the Edomites, they are the head. Okay. Starting with their elites. So they have the power. All right. To be able to be able to, subject you onto certain things. All right. We're subject to payments. All right. Subject to follow certain laws. Okay. So you have to, the scriptures talk about not being over righteous. All right, and as Paul said, all things are lawful for me, but not all things are expedient. All right, so you have to play the game. Okay, and it's really up here, man. This is what you got to use. All right, because an Israelite who doesn't know anything, who doesn't know what's going on, he's not a threat. One who is woken up and knows what's going on is a threat. But an even bigger threat is one who's woken up and knows what's going on, but can act as though he doesn't know what's going on and he's just going through. That's how you play them. You're an even bigger threat because they won't keep their guard up around somebody, a Jake that doesn't know what's going on. But if you're one who's smart and knows, hey, when you read in the book of Daniel, all right, through the different chapters, you see how through his wisdom, the wisdom that the Lord blessed him with, he was able to obtain favor, all right, in the sight of the rulers, even though they weren't Israelites, but they put him in such a high place, man, because it tells you that after I believe it was during the time of Darius the Mede, when he had set up Daniel above all the other presidents and the princes, that they sought an occasion to basically get mess up Daniel's name or bring up an accusation against them, but they couldn't find one. Why? Because the way Daniel conducted himself, you couldn't find fault with him. And we have to be like that. We have to be quote unquote law-abiding citizens. Okay. So this is Matthew chapter 5, verse 25. Because if you try to be over righteous, all right, instead of using wisdom, knowing that you're not in a position, all right, to to do certain things, it's only going to be for your detriment. Okay. You got to know when to strategically retreat. So this is Matthew 5 and 25. Agree with thine adversary quickly whilst thou art in the way with him. All right. Let's see if they give us anything for way. All right. It says, oh, look at that. Way. This is the word way. Whilst thou art in the way with him. It says properly a way, a traveled way, road, metaphor for a course of conduct. Okay. A way, i.e. manner of thinking, feeling, deciding. So while the situation is hot, okay, you have to agree with thine adversary quickly, man. And an example would be, let's say you get pulled over by the police, or the cops approach you, or whatever the case may be. They are acting, all right, upon Esau's laws, all right, Esau's systems. Okay, you have to be able to play that game, man. Don't be out here. There was a video that came out, I believe, maybe a couple years ago, about a Israelite who, when the cop asked him, I believe, to step out the car, and he was like, nah, he was resisting and all that. So the cops ripped the door open and pulled his ass out. And as they were handcuffing him, all you hear is him calling on your how about Shemel Shai, but nothing was happening. Why? Because look, you tempted the Lord, man. Okay, you tempted the Lord. The Lord already showed you what you had to do. What you called on him at that point, he wasn't going to do anything, because you could have avoided that whole situation from escalating. That's why it says, not only does it say agree with thine adversary, but it says agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him. Remember, when these centurions, all right, these modern day centurions, because they have that power, when they come and they approach you, man, they're still human. So they get angry. All right. Some of them already come, especially if they're Edomites, they come with the mindset of he, especially if you Jake, oh, you already at a disadvantage. So don't give him more reason. Don't add fuel to the fire. Try to put out the fire with water, man. Oh, okay, you agree, man. Oh. Do you know why I pulled you over? No, officer, I don't know. I don't know why you pulled me over. Or if you do know why, oh, I know why. You pulled me over, whatever. But he might just tell you anyway. You know. You know why I pulled you over? I don't know. Well, that's great, because I'm going to tell you. And they come with that little smirk, smart ass attitude, smart mouth. But you are not in a position to really lose your cool. Okay, because hey, man, these cops are trigger happy now. Okay, you even breathe the wrong way, you got like 10 hot lead bullets in your torso, or whatever the case may be. But you can avoid all that using wisdom, man. So it says, agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time. So while the event is going on, okay, you gotta de-escalate the situation as quick as possible, because then what? They're gonna call for backup. It's going to become a whole big situation. And when you look at a lot of these different times when Jake might get shot, or the situation might escalate, if you look at it, if the person, the victim, all right, or the person in that being arrested or being harassed by the cops had just agreed and just done as he was told, or he or she was told, they would have been out of that situation. The cop asks you, yo, let me see your ID. My man, show the cop the ID, man. Nah, what you want to see my ID for? I didn't do nothing. Nah, you bugging. I ain't show you no. Bro, how? What? Are you gonna die for just reaching in your wallet and showing them your ID, man? Okay, but now you're escalating the situation. So they grab you, and then now get off me wallet, and then now you resisting arrest. They call him back up. Next thing you know, you on the ground, or you shot dead, whatever the case may be. Which all of that could have been avoided had you just done one thing: agree with thine adversary. You pull out the ID, give it to them. If you're complying, all right, then what reason do they really have? It says, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. You see? Because that's why when you go to court, all right, you plead your case. You don't go there in a already in a state of authority, or in a position of authority. You're going there to plead your case before the judge. So how are you gonna go in there and the judge tells you get 20 years? You say, nah, I ain't doing no 20 years. You're not in a position to do that. All right. Moving on. This is Acts chapter 5, verse 35. Because when you try to do things of your own power, all right, it doesn't work out. Look, man, every civilization or empire or rulership or dominion that went down, it wasn't necessarily by men. The Most High took it down. He setteth up kingdoms and he bringeth them down. Okay. He just uses different means to do it. Example being the fall of the Assyrian Empire. He used the Babylonians and the Medes, all right, to take it down. But it wasn't of their power. It was the Most High who set it up that way. The fall of the Medo-Persian Empire, or the Achaemenid Empire, the Lord used who? Alexander the Greek, okay, when he defeated Darius III at the Battle of Gaugamela. The Lord used Alexander to take down the Medo-Persian Empire, okay, but that was because it was time for it to go down. Now, had you tried to take it down before that, it wouldn't have worked. You see, so it's the same thing now in this day and age, man. The time is gonna come. The Lord says that they can't pass their boundary. So the time is gonna come when the kingdom will fall. This kingdom, All right, the so-called white man's kingdom, America will be destroyed. All right, and society, or this age as it is, will crumble. But if you try to force it before then, it's not going to work. All right, history even tells you that, man. Because if the Lord ain't with it, then it don't matter how much you're with it, it's not going to work. All right. Hey, shalom to those on the comment board. This was Ramiro Canella. I know what you mean. I had an E. Yeah. You know, for those in the know, all right, E for Edomite. Try me at work today, calling me names, so I stood up for myself, and then I was the aggressor. These devils always make us the bad guy, even when it's to defend ourselves. Yeah, of course, because they use certain words. You know, if you have Jake rioting or Jake protesting, then it's wild black men, you know, some wild thing like that, you know, a wild gang of delinquents rioting and causing trouble in the streets. That's what you see on the headlines of the news. All right, but you can have Esau freaking throwing Molotovs and burning down buildings and all that, and they'll say a couple of drunk teens, you know, having a bonfire or something like that, because they'll do that. They're not gonna make themselves look bad. We're the ones they're gonna do that to. That's why, being that stigma is already out there on our people, you're already going into playing the game. Look, man, we playing the game on extreme difficulty with one life. All right, these Edomites or these E's, they're playing it on extra easy. All right, they got all the DLCs, the cheat codes, and all of that. So we're already coming into this thing at a disadvantage. Okay, so you don't want to add more hell to yourself, man. But let's get into this. This is Acts chapter 5, verse 35. All right. Now this was when they had called the apostles. All right. And they were basically sort of having like a council on you know, trying to put them to death, you know. So this is what happened. It says Acts 5 and 31, and said, I'll start at verse 33. And when they heard that, they were cut to the heart and took counsel to slay them. Then stood there up one in the council, a Pharisee named Gamaliel. All right, and it tells you that he was the one who had taught Paul. Okay, because right now you had the Sanhedrin, which was like the court, all right, or the judges. Okay, they had that council, and then they had the apostles in the middle, basically to plead their case. And then after the apostles had spoken, they were cut. So they said they would take counsel to slay them. They wanted to put them to death. Then stood there up one in the council, a Pharisee named Gamaliel, a doctor of the law. So he was learned in it, you know, like today, you know, they'll say there's a doctorate, or he has a doctorate, you know, so then you call him doctor so and so, which whatever, you know, but it's just like that. It means he's at a very high level in whatever field that he's in. It says had in reputation among all the people, okay, and commanded to put the apostles forth a little space. So Gamaliel was somebody that was highly respected. You know, that's why when he stood up, everybody was like, all right, let's hear what he got to say. You know, and so he said, yo, send them out, you know, put them outside real quick, because, you know, they were about to have he was about to, you know, have that discussion. All right. So it says, and he said unto them, ye men of Israel, take heed to yourselves what ye intend to do as touching these men. For before these days rose up Theodas, all right, boasting himself to be somebody, of whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who was slain, and all as many as obeyed him were scattered and brought to naught. All right. So now you had Gamaliel. He was speaking, but he was using knowledge. He was speaking logically. You know, the rest of them had gotten in their emotions. So he was like, yo, listen, let's think about this, because what they're doing, as he's gonna go into, if it's of men, is gonna come to naught. Now, Theodas, all right, or Theodas, like it says here, he would be considered a zealot or a zealot, all right, because back during that time, you had Jake that would try to uprise, you know, They would band together. When you read in the book of Josephus, it tells you that he had to go quell some of those uprisings and tell them not to try and overthrow the Roman Empire, because it wasn't going to end well for them, because they were trying to force it. They were trying to do it out of their own power, but that wasn't the time. All right. So an example being Theodos. All right. Him and those that try to follow him, it came to naught. Verse 37. After this man rose up Judas of Galilee in the days of the taxing, which is like tribute, and drew away much people after him. So he basically gathered followers. He also perished, and all, even as many as obeyed him, were dispersed, because he was a zealot. Now let's look up, okay, in the Bibles, or Salaki, the dictionaries. Let's look up who this man Judas. All right, this is the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia. All right, when you look up Judas of Galilee. Okay, now this gives you the reason I'm here. All right, because you can go to the Interlinear Concordance, but this gives you more of the a little bit more background and history. All right, or more information on the character. You know, it gives you more like the about section of it, as where the Interlinear Concordance gives you more of just the straight definition. You know, it might tell you the meaning of the word. You know. So this is Judas of Galilee. It says, mentioned in Acts 5 and 37, as we're reading, as the leader of an insurrection occasioned by the census of Quirinius in 7 AD. Let me see if anything pops up. No. All right. He and those who obeyed him, it is said, perished in the revolt. All right. Josephus also repeatedly mentions Judas by the same name, the Galilean, and speaks of his revolt. Now, when you jump down, it says here, it may be regarded as belonging to the province. The party of Judas, all right, seems to have been identified with the Zealots, which the Zealots, they weren't really anything big. If anything, they actually caused more trouble than did good, because when you go to the time of the siege of Jerusalem, the siege would have lasted much longer, but you had the Sicarii, which were zealots. They burned the food and the resources within the siege, man. Because remember, when you're under siege, the enemy cuts off all supply, anything going in or anything coming out. So no water, no food, nothing. So within now in Jerusalem, Salaki, in Jerusalem, they had a whole lot of food. They had stored a lot. Look, man, they had food for a minute, and they would have lasted. They would have been good for a long period. However, you had these zealots who burned it. All right. So going on, just showing you that Judas of Galilee was a zealot. All right. And he tried to, you know, like it says, he tried to uprise against the Romans, and it came to naught. Okay, why? Because it wasn't time. You know, you're trying to be the tough guy. The Lord will deliver you into the hand of the enemy. Don't think just because you're an Israelite. Look, when you read the accounts of the times when the Lord delivered Israel, all right, or he gave the power to certain men. It wasn't just randomly, oh, yep, just blah, blah. No, there was a particular reason or scenario, all right, where the Lord would divinely intervene, all right? But if there's obviously a common sense way of getting out of the situation, and you like, nah, I ain't going to do it that way. Look, you're going to be giving up, okay? And just like when Satan tempted the Lord, Yahweh Shai, what did he tell Satan? He said, Lord, don't tempt as it is written, don't tempt the hand of the Lord. Because Satan told Yahweh Shai to jump off the top, what's it called, the pinnacle or so. All right. He put him up on a high place and told him to jump off. He basically trying to tempt him, saying, if you're the son of the Lord, then jump off, because as it is written, he shall give his angels charge over thee. All right, and they'll basically protect you. So even Satan knew scriptures. All right. But nonetheless, Yahushua told him what? You're not to tempt the hand of the Lord. Okay? So if you try to take things into your own matters into your own hands, all right, and uprise and you want to pick up guns and do all these different things, it's not going to work. The Lord will deliver you into the hands of the enemy because they still have to rule. They still have to reign. Esau still has to be in power so that the mark of the beast can be implemented and made mandatory to fulfill prophecy, so that this martial law can be declared, so that the World War III can come to pass. Okay, the scriptures say Esau is the end of the world. So, and that word world meaning age, eon in the Greek. So in order, all right, for this kingdom to fall and those prophecies to be fulfilled, Esau has to be ruling at last. You can't take him down now because he still has to fulfill prophecy. Okay, why do you think the Lord put Trump in power? Okay, so going on, verse 38, and now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. You see, but if it be of the Most High, ye cannot overthrow it, lest haply ye be found even to fight against the Most High or fight against God. And that's what happens. So Esau being in power right now is of the Most High, is the Lord's will. Yeah, he shoots us down. We're in slavery and all these things, but the Lord has set it up that way. So if you try to do it, you'll be like it says here, found to fight even against the Most High, and you're gonna lose. Okay. So right now we are to what? We are to use our only means, which I'm gonna read it right now, of fighting back, which is what? Spiritually. 2 Corinthians 10:4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Okay, they're not guns, okay, or physical weapons. Okay, it's spiritual. It's like it says, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach. You know why? Because when you have control of somebody's mind, okay, that's the strongest thing, man. Their body is run by their mind. What the mind says, the body follows. So if you control what somebody's mind says, you control them. And that's why you have a government. To govern means to control, and ment goes back to what? Mind. All right. If you have a mental disorder, you have a disorder in the mind. All right. Or if you govern something, you control it. So a government is really mind control or controlling the mind. Okay. So in order, now they set up their kingdom. Okay. But in order to have this America really built as the way it was, they had to put us in slavery, but they understood they couldn't just force us to do certain things. They had to break us. Okay. So you had to first get the mind, man. Once you get the mind, that's how you stay on top. That's how you have others serving you. That's how you have others under you, by having their mind. Okay. To where you don't even have to physically force them to do anything. All right, but you have their mind under control. You have them under mind control that they're going to do it willingly. They're going to do it themselves. Okay, and that's why our weapons are strong, because they're spiritual. And what does it do? It's pulling down strongholds and casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the Most High. So our people being in that docile state of mind, having Stockholm syndrome, all right, loving massa so much, being destroyed for lack of knowledge, that is a part of Esau's mind control to keep him on top. Okay, so using these scriptures, we are breaking down that control of the mind, or that mind control over our people. Micah 2:10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. All right, and what is that doing? That is what's actually breaking down his kingdom. Because physically, yeah, America is built, although the infrastructure is trash, but what's keeping it on top is the control that it has over the people. So if you want to break down the actual empire, you have to break the control that it has over the people. Okay, it's like when you look at cheerleading, and they do their little dancing and stuff, and then they sort of build to where you have people on the bottom holding up people on top, holding up people on top, holding up that one person on the top, right? Well, let's say, for example's sake, that one person is Esau, and everybody else is us. Once the bottom person wakes up, he's like, "Yo, why am I holding this dude up?" You know, the only reason I'm still holding him up is because I was asleep. You know, that's why he had me holding him up, keeping his kingdom afloat. But now I've woken up. I'm like, time out. I don't need to hold this guy. So I let go. The next person lets go. What's going to happen? The person's going to fall from the top down because they don't have our support anymore. Okay. So this word is powerful, man, because this word breaks the spell that Esau has cast over our people. Okay, because as much as he used whips and chains, he also used words and hypnotized our people. Okay, this is Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. It says, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." Okay, I read that again. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. When you compare sheep and a wolf, all right, it's pretty obvious that the wolf has a higher a hand up, okay, because the wolf will be the predator and the sheep will be the prey, okay. But an ability the Lord gave us is what? To be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So don't provoke them, okay. You have to be wise, man. Do you know why serpents are so subtle? Because they know if you were to see them and spot them and go in a one-on-one battle with them, they would lose. So what do? They say, okay, I know I can't stand up on two legs like this human being. I'm not as big as him. Okay. I don't have hands to just, throw the hands with him. Okay. So what am I going to do? All right. I can slither through these bushes. I have a venomous bite. So I'm going to use this to my advantage. What can I do to give me a hand up over him? Okay, well, based on my characteristics and all that, I have to be subtle because I can kill him, but I have to do it the way the smart way. All right, based on what I've been given, I have to use that to give me the hand up over him. So a snake will use what? Its subtlety. It'll slither in the bushes, and what? A snake will oftentimes be in an environment that it can blend into. So it can be for its advantage. So you walking in the bushes, you don't see the snake. He comes, he bites you, you're dead. All right. Now you might be bigger than him, you might be taller than him, faster than him, stronger than him. But what? He used his skills to his benefit. So us being sheep, yeah, if we were to go, all right, toe to toe with these wolves, we would lose. But that's why using wisdom, you don't go toe to toe with these wolves. Okay. You got to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. A sheep can't really harm a wolf physically. Okay. So you have to be harmless. Don't provoke him. But what you can do is you can outsmart him. All right. And that's why, like we read in Matthew, it says what? Agree with thine adversary quickly. If a wolf came to a sheep, all right, and he was like, yo, I want you to do this, and that. The best thing to do is just listen and do it because he could tear your ass up. And all you're going to see is sheep fur. Okay. So keep that in mind, man. Yeah, we know the prophecies. Yeah, this is happening. But look, don't go bringing extra hell upon yourself because you think you a tough guy. It's not going to get you far, man. Oh, yeah, I'm a man of the Lord, Yeah, I come from the, what I'm saying? Like, my ancestors go back to King David and, and Samson and all them. So, I'm going to go around and boast in that, What you looking at? I'm an Israelite. You see a heathen or Edomite, you know what I'm saying? Like you push him out the way. I'm an Israelite, get out of my way. Look, man, the Lord be like, oh, okay. He puts the spirit on the Edomite, he lays you out. Okay. Now how you gonna feel? All right, moving on. This is Daniel chapter 13, verse 1. It says, Salakia, Romans chapter 13, verse 1. I had Daniel here next, that's why I asked Salakia. It says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. Okay. Now, with this doesn't mean that when Esau comes, all right, and says, "Yo, you gotta take that chip," that you're gonna that you gotta take the chip. No, okay. Listen, man, the Most High is the highest power, but when He sets up certain kingdoms, okay, it's His will. Okay, so being subject to Esau to an extent is you being subject to the Most High, because the Most High set him up that way to do that, to fulfill prophecy. Okay, so like it says here, they are ordained of the Most High, man. Oh, look at this. Romans 13 and 2. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. Because now let's say you want to say, well, the scriptures say that, sodomites are supposed to be stoned or put to death. So you see a sodomite, you pick up a big ass rock and you just, throw it. Where you think you're gonna end up? Because according to Esau's laws, you can't do that. Okay. So what? You follow the laws Esau has set in place, so long as they're not contradicting the laws of the Most High. So long as they're not causing you, okay, to have to go off. Esau says you need a driver's license to drive. Get a driver's license to drive. Okay. Use wisdom. Know that, okay, if I don't have a driver's license and I get caught, I'm gonna get in some trouble. You don't do that and then get caught and then call in the name of the Lord and then get upset if the Lord doesn't do anything for you, because my man's it's common sense. He gave you brains, okay, to know that, all right, well, this is the law of the land. I'm subject to this law, so let me do it. Now, if Esau was to come and say take the chip or eat pork, that's a different story, okay, because now he's trying to get you to go against the Most High. So what? You pray to the Lord and He'll deliver you then. Okay. So last precept, this is Daniel chapter 4, verse 17. It says, this matters by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones. Okay. To the intent that the living may know. And that's the angels. All right. Starts first with the angels. All right. To the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. The Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. As a matter of fact, before I end it, a precept to back that up is Proverbs 21 and 1. It says, the king's heart, all right, or the king's mind is in the hand of Yahweh, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Okay. So the mind of the king, all right, is in the hand of the Lord. So the Lord really got everybody under mind control, man. So whatever the king of a certain country or whatever things to do, the Lord put the spirit on him to do that. That's why it says the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, because whatever you do, the Lord ordained you to do it, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the bases of men. So he gave it first. He gave it to the Assyrians for a time. Okay. Then he gave it to the Babylonians. Okay. Gave it to the Medes and the Persians. Okay. Gave it to the Greeks, which are Edomites. Gave it to the Romans, which are also Edomites. Okay. And then when you fast forward down today, Esau still got it. Okay. So, but it's the Most High who set it up that way, man. Now, there's one more precept. I was reading it today. Now, I think it might be in the book of Jonah, the 3rd chapter. I'll see if I can find it. If not, then it might be in Amos, Salakia. Yep, Amos 4 and 13. For lo, he that formeth the mountains and createth the wind and declareth unto man what is his thought. Okay, that maketh the morning darkness and treadeth upon the high places of the earth. The Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, the power of hosts is his name. Okay, so like it says, he declareth unto man what is his thought. All right, so keep in mind, man, if you have, for example, people think that the president is really the one in charge and who's ruling a country. No, all right, they're puppets. Like in America, okay, the president here, he's really just a puppet. Okay, the true ruler are the ones pulling the strings, the elites. Okay, just like in ancient Israel, when you had an empire, all right, set up a puppet king, okay, who would pay tribute, to that particular empire. Guess what? The real rulers, okay, though you had even an example, you have governors. They would set up governors, okay, or satraps, right? So the ultimate ruler, okay, would be the empire at the time, but they'd set up governors and satraps, which they will control, all right, or have them have the people do or obey or pay homage or tribute or whatever to that particular empire ruling at the time. So, like an example being in the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, all right, the fourth. Guess what? When he made a decree that all should be one people, and that they should leave the laws of their lands and the laws of each other, and just come and be one people. Guess what? He had control of a quite an area, which included Israel. Okay, and he set up troops and garrisons and all of that. But guess what? He though he wasn't physically living among them and all that, he was still the one in control. So he might set up a governor or a puppet king or somebody over the nation, and they might look to him as like, oh, he's the one in charge, but he's taking orders from somebody. Okay, so really that person who he's taking orders from is the one who's truly in charge. So I say all that to say that, guess what? These presidents, these kings, these rulers, they're taking orders from the Most High. All right, indirectly, whether they know it or not. They're in whatever they think to do, all right, or whatever they do really is set up by the Most High. Because this is all a movie, it's a script. All right, it's a script. So when the antagonist comes up with a plan in the movie and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna try to shoot him when he goes into the mall with my sniper, that's a good plan, he thinks, when he comes up with it. But why would he think that? And why would he come up with that? Because that's what's written in the script for him to do. So who's really in charge? Is it him because he thought of it? Or is it the director because he wrote it for the antagonist to think of it? All right. But nonetheless, that's really it. All right. Let me see. Karamya Yasharala 44 Shalom. Yep. All right, but yeah, that's basically it. Okay, that was I wanted to go into that topic real quick, man. Just using wisdom, okay? Because it's common sense, man. No need to act all tough, man. Who you trying to impress? Who are you trying to impress, man? Okay, people often mistake wisdom and strategy for cowardness. There's a difference between the two, man. And people often mistake stupidity for courageousness. There's a difference between those two as well. One will get you killed and one will keep you alive. Okay, but you got to know when to use what. Okay, but nonetheless, all right, I'm gonna end it here. Okay, Lord willing, this is edifying unto the elect. All right, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Until next time, Shalom.